Rapid prototypes. Good morning. So today's topic, prototypes. Okay, prototypes. So prototypes are models of a system or component built for the purpose of demonstrating performance and functionality. So what are prototypes? So these are the working model, type of working model, especially made or built for the purpose of demonstration, about demonstrating what the performance and functionality. Before the actual production of the product, in order to find the performance and also the functionality of the product, what we do is we make a working model, just a model, and that model is termed as the prototype. So prototype is the design verification phase of a product development used to demonstrate or prove the aspects of a design. So usually initially we have a design, and here in this stage, while developing a prototype, it is the design verification phase. Design verification, that is, we are verifying the design. So in this phase, what we do is we are verifying the design by creating a working model for demonstrating the performance and the functionality. So these are built according to the earlier specification and design. So this working model is built according to the specifications and designs provided. So now we'll see what are the need for a prototype. Need of the prototype. First one, this enables the idea to be tested through trial and error method. This is using a trial and error method. Okay, so these tests enable the ideas to be tested through trial and error method, so that the design can be corrected in the earlier stages of the design. So in the earlier stages itself, regarding the design, in the earlier stages itself, we will be able to correct the design through the various trial and error methods. Next is the second one. It helps to develop procedures for the product to be manufactured. So we will we'll be able to develop the procedures, develop the procedures develop the procedures for the products to be manufactured. What all procedures are there, or how we can produce a product, in what order we can produce. Third need, these tests helps to detect the errors while interpreting the engineering drawings. That is, detecting errors. So from the design, we'll get some engineering drawings. So while interpreting those drawings, we'll be able to detect the errors. This all happens by using the prototypes. Then, last one, these tests are used to demonstrate new product to the customers. Demonstrate new product. Demonstrate new product to the customers. So new product, how it will be working and all. The demonstration can be given to the customers through these prototypes. So while seeing the prototypes, they will get a clear picture of the working of the new product. So these are the main needs of a prototype. So first one is to enable the ideas to be tested through trial and error method, so that the design can be corrected in earlier stages of the design. Second, it helps to develop the procedures for the products to be manufactured. Third one, it helps to detect the errors while interpreting the engineering drawings. And fourth one, it is used to demonstrate new product to the customers. So these are the needs of the prototype. Now we'll see what is the rapid prototyping. The term rapid prototyping. Rapid prototyping or rapid prototype. Okay. So whenever the physical system similar to one of which is developed is not available for the comparison, that is a physical system, any system, if it is not available for comparison, then the conceptualization or visualization of the system may be difficult. So in that case, the system which the customer has in his mind may be different from what the developer has in the mind. So developer in his mind, there will be some system. He's developing it according to that. But usually what happens is he explains the things to the customer, but the customer won't be getting the clear picture of the idea. He may be analyzing in some other ways. So if there is a prototype or working model, any such like that, then he will be able to analyze it or equalizes the ideas. Okay. So rapid prototyping is used for such system where these things happens. And now this rapid prototyping, it is an incomplete model of the product to be developed. So this is just an incomplete model of the product to be developed. This is not a complete product, but just a working model. Now, rapid prototyping represents the key parts of the system. So it represents the key parts. Whether it is not a, actually it is not a complete model, but it represents the key parts of the system. And this is simple and inexpensive to produce. So it is simple, not a complex one, but simple and inexpensive to produce. The customer is allowed to experiment with the prototype to access the functionality of the system. So the customer can experiment on this prototype. So we can experiment on the prototype. So in order to find the functionality or analyze the functionality of the system. Now changes are made in the rapid prototype until the required product is developed. So till the final product or the required product is developed, the constant changes or variable changes, many changes are made in the existing prototype. So more and more prototypes are, or the prototype is updated or it is changed until the required product is developed. After that, it will move to the final design. Now, the architects use physical scaled models for this purpose. So, physical scaled model. That means, suppose we are our final product is of the dimension 1000 is to 1000 is to 1000. But we are not making the prototype or the working model in that dimension, but scale to some value like say 10 into 10 into 10. So usually what the architects do is they just scale down and prepare the model. Now the rapid prototyping takes virtual designs from computer aided design, that is CAD. Computer aided design, that is CAD. or animation modeling software, any other animation modeling softwares, then transfer them into thin virtual and horizontal cross sections. Thin virtual and horizontal cross sections, then creates the cross section in the physical space one after the next until the model is finished. So each layer by layer they will be analyzing. Now rapid prototyping can typically produce the models in few hours, although it can vary widely depending on the type of machine being used and the size and the number of models being produced simultaneously. So it can be take few hours to make the models. Now we will see what are the reasons why we choose the rapid prototyping or the reasons for rapid prototyping. We'll see there is reasons for rapid prototyping. Okay, mainly three. There are many others also, but the main 3 points will be discussed here. First one, to increase the effective communication. To increase the effective communication. Effective communication. Communication. That means previously we have discussed that is the customer has in his mind one system and the developer has another system. So while developer explains his idea, the customer will be getting another picture in his mind. So there will be a gap. So there will be a communication gap. So if the rapid prototyping is there, then there will be a effective communication. So in order to increase the effective communication, we are using the rapid prototyping. Then next one, to decrease the development time. Decrease development time. Decrease the development time. How? By allowing the corrections to be made in the products in the early in the process. Right? Allowing corrections. By allowing corrections. So before producing itself or in the earlier design stage itself, we are analyzing the prototype and correcting or corrective actions are made. So we can reduce the time lost for this correcting or failures, and we can decrease the development time. We can increase the productive time or utilize the productive time. Next, third one, to decrease the costly mistakes. Decrease costly mistakes. Like the previous case, many failures can be prevented in the earlier stages itself. So we can reduce the cost associated with that failure. That is decreasing the costly mistakes. So these are the main reasons for choosing a rapid prototyping. So first one is by increasing the effective communication. Communication mainly, as we said, there will be a communication between the customer and the developer. Then the decrease in the developing time, how? By allowing corrections in the early stage itself. And finally, to decrease the costly mistakes. Okay. Now we'll see the various applications of rapid prototyping. applications of rapid prototyping. Applications of rapid prototyping. So mainly it is used in automotives, then aerospace, then medical field, consumer products industries, etc. So these are the main applications. That is automotive industries, aerospace, medical, consumer product industry, and many others. Where we need a working model. There all we can use the rapid prototyping. Now we will see what are the limitations. So there will be some limitations also for rapid prototyping that will be discussed here. Limitations of rapid prototyping. Limitations of rapid prototyping. So first one, this is still in the developing stage. This rapid prototyping technology is actually in the developing stage itself. It's not much developed. This is in developing stage. Just in a developing stage, and now only certain materials are available. Say that is some plastic materials. Some types of plastic materials are only available now, as far as now. So the technology has to move forward so that other materials such as metals, alloys, etc. can be utilized. If it is possible, then it will be okay. But as of now, it is just a developing stage, and we are possible to use only the plastic materials. We are using only plastic materials. This is one of the main limitation. Next one, it does not offer good surface finish. Does not offer good surface finish. So there will be lack of dimensional what do you say, dimensional accuracy. So by rapid prototyping, so we are making a working model out of which the surface finish, if we check, we can see the surface finish is not that much good. It will be there, but you can see the overall size or shape of the product will get some value, but the surface finish is not that good as the final product. And also, so there will be some loss of or lack of dimensional accuracy. Dimensional accuracy will be poor. So our analysis may be wrong, or some percentage of error will be there while analyzing the product. And finally, this is very costly for the machines. The machines which provides a rapid prototyping. Machines will be very costly. Very costly. So these are the main limitations of rapid prototyping. So first one is, it is just in the developing stage itself. As of now, we are getting only plastic materials, or we can use only plastic materials for the purpose of making the working model. Later on, we hope that we can be able to produce using metals or alloys, etc. Then next is it does not offer the good surface finish. It is not providing a good surface finish. So as a result, there will be a lack of dimensional accuracy. So that will interpret in our results also. And finally, the machines for rapid prototyping, they are very costly. So these are all about the prototyping. Now we will see what is a or next topic, that is value engineering. Value engineering. Okay. Value engineering. So by the name itself, we can see what is value engineering. Engineering value. That is a value related to engineering. That is something related to value. So we can say there will be some types of values. There are a number of types of values will be there, and we'll see how it is related to engineering. So value engineering, it is actually a process of improving the value of a product at every stage of the product life cycle. Okay, that is, it is a process of improving the value, improving the value, improving the value of a product at every stage of the product life cycle. Product life cycle. Product life cycle. Product life cycle means every product has a life, that is from birth to death. There will be a life cycle. So in every stages of the product, then the process of improving the value of the product. Whenever the value decreases, there will be improvement to be done. So this process is termed as the value engineering. Now, a product or service is generally considered to have good value if it has the appropriate performance and cost. So if a product, any product or service is said to have a good value, when if it has a appropriate performance and cost. Based on the performance and cost, we can say whether it is having a good value. So now we'll see what are the types of values. What are the basic types of values? Okay. Types of values. Types of values. First one, cost value. Cost value. Cost value is the total cost of the material, labor, and other elements of the cost. So it is the total cost of which all things? Material, material, labor, and other elements of the cost. And other elements. Okay. So the cost value, that is the value related to the cost, whichever cost will be there, the cost incurred to produce an item or to provide a service, even a service. So this gives a basic worth of the product or service. The cost value gives the basic worth, of a product. Basic worth of a product or service. And it gives the basic worth of the product or service. So this is the cost value. So cost value is anything which is connected to the cost of the product or services. It is the total cost of material, labor, and other elements, and gives the basic worth of any product or services. Next is the use value. Use value. It is also known as functional value. Functional value. So this is the basically related to the functioning. Each product is having an intended function, and how it functions depends on the value, and it returns a value. That particular value is the use value or the functional value. So the use value is equal to value of the functions performed. Value of the functions performed. Value of functions performed. Value of the functions performed. So therefore, this is the price paid by the buyer or the cost incurred by the manufacturer in order to ensure that the product performs in intended function efficiently. So there will be an intended function. In order to function it efficiently, how much price is paid by the buyer, or in case of manufacturer, the cost incurred by the manufacturer. So this is the price, that is use value or functional value. It is actually the price paid by the buyer or the cost incurred by the manufacturer. For what? In order to ensure that the product performs its intended functions efficiently. So this is the use value, and it is the the fundamental form of economic value. So the fundamental form of economic value is the use value. Now, an item without use value can have neither exchange value nor esteem value. These will be explained later. The next values are that is, if the use value is not there, then there is no point in exchange value or esteem value. There will not be any exchange value or esteem value. So the next one is esteem value. Esteem value. Esteem value, it involves the qualities and appearance of a product. Qualities and appearance. So it includes the qualities and appearance of a product. So which attract the people and create a desire in them to possess that product. So by seeing the qualities and the appearance, mainly appearance, the customer will have a desire. They will have a desire to possess that. Though usually there will be many competitors for a product. say for a TV or a bike or a car, anything, there will be many competitors. Many companies will be producing the same product, the same price range. So what make the people choose the particular product is their appearance or some certain qualities or some specifications. So mainly by using the qualities and appearance, which attract the people and creates a desire in them in order to possess these products. This includes the esteem value. So it is the esteem value is the price paid by the buyer, or in terms of manufacturer, or the cost incurred by the manufacturer beyond the use value. So beyond the use value we have already seen. Beyond that, there will be some extra amount or extra value which is paid by the buyer in case of a buyer, or incurred by the manufacturer in order to make the attractive. That is the esteem value. Now, next is exchange value. Fourth one, exchange value. Exchange value. Exchange value. Exchange value, by the name itself, we can say the value which is related to the exchange of a product. In the case of automobiles, etc., we know the exchange value of this particular vehicle is more compared to another one. So we will purchase that particular car or bike whose exchange value is more, so that even if the total amount is little bit higher than the competitive product, we will opt for the exchangeable model, because in case after 2 or 3 years, if we try to sell it, then we should get the money back. So in that case, we will choose for the exchange valued product. The product which have the more value, exchange value, we will be choosing. So it is the measure of all the properties, qualities, and features of the product which make the product possible to be being traded for another product or for money. So this is the exchange value. So these are the main types of values. So we have seen 4 types of values. First one is the cost value. It is a value related to the cost, directly to the cost. That is the total cost of material, labor, etc., and other elements. And it gives a basic worth of a product or service. Then use value. Use value is the value of the functions performed. Various functions performed. The functional value is also known as the functional value. For the intended purpose, there will be some intended function and how it performs the intended functions efficiently. That gives the use value. And if we have seen, if the use value is not there, then there is no point in esteem value or exchange value. Later, esteem value. Esteem value, it is mainly dependent on the qualities and appearance. Qualities and appearance of a product, which attracts the people and create a desire in them to process that product, that particular product. There will be a desire. In order to, this value creates a desire inside the person or the customer in order to possess that particular product. So that is esteem value. Then last one is the exchange value. Exchange value, It is the measure of all the properties, qualities, and features of the product, which makes the product possible of being traded for another product or for money. So that this is the these are the types of values. Okay. Now, now we'll see what are the objectives of value engineering, applications of value engineering, reasons for poor value. Now, if it is a poor value, then how to increase the value of a function, then advantages of value engineering, phases of value engineering, etc., etc. So that we will see in the next class. Okay. So these are the topics we have discussed today. So first of all, we have discussed about the prototypes, need of a prototype, etc. So what is a prototype? Prototypes are model of a system or component built for the purpose of demonstration or demonstrating the performance and functionality. In order to demonstrate the performance and functionality of a product, we are using a working model termed as the prototype. And these were the needs, basically 4 needs. That is, first one, a trial and error method is used in order to correct the design in the early stage itself. Then develop certain procedures for the product to manufacture. The manufacturing procedures can be designed. Then third one is the detecting the errors. What all errors are there in the design by interpreting certain drawings and all. And finally, in order to demonstrate new product to the customers by giving this prototype. We're using the prototypes, it will be able for the developer to demonstrate his idea to the customer efficiently. Then we move to rapid prototyping and the reasons for the rapid prototyping. These were the main reasons. That is, in order to, first of all, in order to increase the effective communication between the customer and the developer, then decreasing the development time by allowing corrections, various corrections in the early stages itself, thereby decreasing the development time. Next, by decreasing the costly mistakes. The costly mistakes in the design and all, we can decrease it. Then we have seen the various applications of rapid prototyping. First one, automotives, then aerospace, medical applications, consumer product industries, etc., etc. After that, we have seen the limitations, basic limitations of the rapid prototyping. These were the main limitations. First one, developing stage. It is the rapid prototyping technology itself. It is in a developing stage, or it is undergoing a developing stage. And at the present stage, it is only possible for the plastic materials to be used for the preparing or prototyping. Later on, we hope that we can be able to use the various other materials like metals or alloys, etc., according to our wish. So there will be more accurate results can be obtained for analysis. Second one is, it does not offer the good surface finish. So there is a problem with the surface finish, and as a result, there will be a lack of dimensional accuracy. And finally, the machines used for the rapid prototyping, they are very costly. Then we have seen value engineering. What is a value engineering? So it is a process, mainly a process of improving value of a product at every stage of the product life cycle. So this is the value engineering, and we have seen the basic types of values, and how we can say whether a product is having good value is based on the performance and cost. Based on the performance and cost, we can say whether a product is having good value. And these were the types of values we have already discussed. That is the first one, cost value, then use value or functional value, esteem value, and exchange value. Okay. Okay, thank you.